Hey guys, Jake here at Off-Road Rodeo. Today we're going to change the oil in my 2021 Honda Trail CT125. This is going to be the second oil change that I've done to it, and that's because at 50 miles I added a magnetic oil drain plug from Goldplug. So this is the true service interval that first 600 miles or 1,000 kilometers, wherever you're at. And we're going to dive into this. We're going to see what that magnetic oil drain plug has picked up. And I'm gonna just walk you through how you're supposed to do this. Super simple for those of you that haven't done it before, and for the folks that have done it a bunch of times, I'm sure that you'll have some tips that you can give me on how to do it better next time. So you can drop those in the comments below here. I'm super excited about this motorcycle. Really excited to share my adventures with you guys. So let's dive into this. So the first thing we want to do is get this guy started. We want to warm that engine oil up and just get it running through. That way when we open that plug up, it's viscous and comes out very easily, just like you would do with your car if you were changing your car oil. So let's start her up. For a few minutes, and we'll come back to it once it's nice and warm. All right, now I just want to go back one step and just mention that to warm the motorcycle up and get that engine oil through it, we don't want to start it inside, guys. Just don't. But seriously, if I don't say that, there might be one person that does. So don't do it with the door closed, okay? All right. Okay, now we have the engine oil warmed up that we did not do inside. To get started, the things that we're going to need. I like to keep my owner's manual handy. I don't have the actual service manual yet. I have it on order. If you have a Goldplug like I do, you're going to need a 17mm socket. And last but not least, Honda recommends that you use SAE 10W30 motorcycle oil, non-energy conserving. Right? So I am using their Pro GN4 10W30 4-stroke motorcycle oil. I got it on Amazon and it was $13. I will post a link in the little description below so that you guys can get this too. All right, now let's get started. Okay, you'll see I have my handy dandy oil pan and my long funnel. It's the same pan and funnel that I use for my car. You could get a smaller, shorter, lower profile one to use for your motorcycle. They're like $2 at Walmart or something like that. But this is what I have, so this is what I'm gonna use. So no comments about it, okay? Okay. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. So now I have everything I need and I'm pretty much ready to go. I like to get it set up ahead of time, so I don't know if you can see, but I have my oil, I have my socket wrench, I have my little manual, I have my funnel, and my oil drain pan. I'm not going to pick those up because they're too far away. I have a rag, and I put another rag underneath there just in case I get any debris while I'm opening that plug. So let's get after it. So I don't know if you can see, but we do have some debris. Okay, so I have the debris cleaned off of it. I don't know if we can get this guy to focus on there or not. So you can see now, no debris. This is what came off of it. So you can see quite a bit of debris on there. And I actually had some little metallic fragments that were present on the end of the rag. So now with that all cleaned up and the oil drained out, we're just letting it drip the rest of the way. And then we're gonna hop back in there, put the plug back in, get it tightened down correctly, and then we can start adding some more engine oil. Okay, so here we are. I've gotten the oil drain plug back in. I keep a rag underneath here when I'm working, so that little dribble was just from whatever escaped as I was putting the plug back in, or while I was moving the oil pan. If you look underneath here, you can see this big bolt right here is the oil drain plug. What I did was I tightened it, I got it snug, and then turned it just about a quarter of a turn, maybe a little less than that, just like you would do to your car. You don't want it too tight, otherwise you're gonna have a bad day getting it off in the future, and there's just no point in that. It just really doesn't need to be crazy, like super over torqued. There probably is a proper torque spec. I just went by feel because I've done this to my other motorcycles and to my car and all that fun stuff. The other thing I did was I made sure that I put the dipstick back in right here. So it's back in. I have it just kind of snug right now because we are going to check the oil with that in just a minute. And I opened up the fill plug and we're gonna get that oil in there. So like I said, I'm using the Honda Pro GN4 10W30, and this oil capacity for this motorcycle is 0.7 quarts. We have 1 quart here in my hand, and so we're gonna add it, and once I think we're about halfway, we're gonna start to check that dipstick and just see what we're looking like, and we're gonna get it filled. Honda's big thing is that they want you to do this on the center stand. They want you to check the oil on the center stand. I previously had like a Suzuki V-Strom, and you were not supposed to check that on the center stand. So this honestly makes it easier if you're by yourself, if you're doing it in your garage like I am. Really just makes the process easy. I'm sure other motorcycles are like this as well. But let's get back at it, right? All right, here we go. Okay, here we are. So I've added about a half a quart of oil to it. You can see here, if we focus in on this bad boy, maybe it'll focus, maybe it won't. We've used about half, maybe just over half. So now we're gonna use the dipstick here and we're gonna check and see what the oil is looking like, right? So we're gonna make sure that we have a rag. This one is kind of dirty. I'm gonna switch to a cleaner rag. Okay, now I have a cleaner rag. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to open this guy up. Takes like a million turns. And see, I'm still not there. Still not there. Any day now. Okay, so now we got it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out, right? And then I'm going to clean it off. And then I'm going to put it back in, but I'm not going to thread it in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it almost like I'm going to thread it in. So I don't know if you can see here, try and focus in on these threads, but basically what we wanna do is we wanna push this in almost as if it was gonna thread, right? So we're right up against there, right? And so now if I wanted to, I could start threading it in, but that's not what we want to do. So to check it, clean it, push it in to where the threads start, make sure that you're there. Then you're gonna pull it out and you're gonna read that oil level. All right, so let's switch back to regular video. And I have a clean rag, and I'm ready to check the oil on this. I've added, again, maybe just over half of a quart of oil. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this out, clean it off real well, make sure that everything is good, make sure that there's no debris around the dipstick threads there. There's nothing on mine. Keep my bike nice and clean. And if your bike is super dirty or you've been off-roading with it, you should probably wash it before doing this. Just that way you really lower your risk of maybe dropping some debris down into the engine. So I have this nice and clean. I'm gonna insert this back in here. Right, I'm gonna pull it out. We're gonna look, and it looks like I'm maybe 3/4 of the way there. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more oil to it, and then we're gonna check again. So for now, I'm gonna just pop this in, turn it in 1 or 2 threads. Take my oil here, which is behind me. Just gonna open this guy up. Pour just a little bit more in. We're right on that cusp where we can kind of see how many ounces we've added. So we're real close. close now. Again, going to unthread, pull this guy out, gonna clean it off. Not even looking at it the first time because there's no point. I'm gonna clean it off. The level could be inaccurate. And then this time, whatever is, draining down into there is settling, so we're gonna get a nice accurate measurement. So we're gonna put this back in. All right, I have it right against the threads like it should be. Gonna pull it out, and you can see, maybe this will focus, maybe we won't, but you can see that we're right where we should be. So we're full up. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just start it up for a minute. Again, with the door open, next to the door outside. I'm gonna let it run, and then I'm going to recheck this oil level measurement, and then we're gonna top it off and make sure it's all set to go. So hang in there. Okay, now that we've run the oil back through it, I know it's nice and warm. We know that it's sucked in whatever it's going to take from that reservoir there, so that we can actually get it topped off correctly. We can bring it back in. So here we go. Okay, so now we've replenished the oil in the system. I'm going to let the oil cool so that we can get an accurate measurement of where it is, and then that way we can get it topped off correctly. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up the tiny mess that I've made here. Just make sure that there's no oil leaking from underneath, and then I'm just going to empty out my oil into my bigger container, and by the time I do all of that, we should be ready to finish this up. Okay, so now I've let the engine cool, so the oil should be settled. I've cleaned up my mess, as you can see, for the most part, except for that little tiny thing off of the oil. But besides that, I'm cleaned up. So now, let's check this, and then we can call it quits. So again, I have this threaded in, so I'm going to unthread this, and it's going to take 25 hours. I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to look at it. Going to make sure that this whole interface is clean. We're good. Going to put this back in. Have it down at the threads. Going to pull it out. Check. And I need just a tiny little bit of oil. So we'll pop this guy back in there. We'll open this guy back up. We'll get the funnel. My oil. And now we will finish topping this guy off. Great. So, make sure you close this so you don't knock it over. I've luckily never done that, but I've seen people do it in videos, and it is really funny if you're a viewer, not funny for you. So, quick tip. So I'm gonna pull this out of here. Set that there for now because I'm pretty sure I have enough. But I'm gonna open this guy. I'm gonna clean it off with that rag. Pop this guy back in here, again to the threads, gonna pull it back out, and I don't know if you can see, but we're good. So, I'm gonna pop this back in, thread this back in, I have that nice and snug. You don't need to over tighten it. It's just plastic. It will crack or you will strip those threads. Now I'm going to put the fill plug back in. Same thing, nice and snug. It's not going to come out of there. It's not loose. The oil drain plug underneath is tight and it's not leaking oil. I've run oil back through it, and now we've topped it off. So that's everything. Thank you for watching. This is my first video. I will be making more, trying to find what my tone is, so hopefully I'll lighten up, and hopefully I won't be wearing these weird AirPods next time. But until then, thank you. Please subscribe, please leave comments, questions, suggestions. I'd love to read them. Thanks everybody.